Hello everybody and welcome back to this tutorial, and right now let us return to our requests library and see all the other available options with it. Now we took a look at some of the simple stuff with the request library. Now we're going to take a look at some of the stuff that you can also do, such as encoding, such as printing the raw actual HTML page, such as printing or, for example, posting files to the actual website. And we're going to take a look at some of the different examples of doing that. We're also going to take a look at the reading contents of the server's response. And let us continue with all of that in this video. Open up your idle, import requests right away. So import requests, and right here what we're going to do is we're going to do something that is already familiar to us, and we're going to perform the get request. So type here r equals requests dot get, and what we're going to search for is the actual GitHub page, and you will see right here, if you specify single quotes and HTTPS and specify api.github.com/events, press here enter. It will take a few seconds to finish, and once you actually type here r.text, we can see that it actually is indeed squeezed text in 522 lines. Okay, so we will not really print it. What you need to know though is that the request will automatically decode content from the server. Now most Unicode characters are seamlessly decoded. Basically what that means is when you make a request, the requests make educated guesses about the encoding of the response based on their HTTP headers. Now the text encoding guessed by requests is used when you access r.text. You can find out what the encoding request is using just by specifying r.encoding, and we can see that it is used the UTF-8 encoding. Okay, now if you want to, you can, for example, change the encoding simply just by specifying the encoding you like in the actual r.encoding environment. So r.encoding equals, and between single quotes you need to specify the encoding. Let's say we use ISO 8859-1. Press here enter, and if you change the encoding, the request will use the new value of the r.encoding, but only whenever you call r.text. So right here, r.text, yeah, it still is 522 lines. It doesn't even matter, we will not print it out, but you might want to do this in a situation where you can apply special logic to work out what the encoding of the content will be. For example, HTML and XML have the ability to specify their encoding in their body. Now, in situations like this, you should use r.content to find the encoding and then afterwards set the encoding. So r.content, we already know what that does. Basically the same as r.text. Now the r.text will actually print out the page itself. We already know that. And basically after you execute these two commands, this will let you use r.text with the correct encoding. Now requests will also make custom encodings in the events that you need them. If you created your own encoding and registered it with the codecs module, you can simply use the codec name as the value of the r.encoding, and requests will handle the decoding for you. So that is also something that you should know. Now this is mostly aimed at the web developers. Nothing really there for anyone that is not really interested in this web developing stuff and in this request library. You can feel free to skip this, and we're going to simply just look at one more thing or two more things. One of them is getting raw response content. Now you can simply just do that just by specifying stream equals true in the actual request.get function. Now basically this is mostly used in rare cases, that when you actually want to get the socket response from the server, you can access it with the result.raw function. Now if you want to do this, make sure that once again you set the stream to be equal to true in your initial request, and you can do it like this. So for example, we have result equals requests.get, and in between the brackets you simply just specify the link. So we are going to use the same link, so https://api.github.com/events. But don't press here enter, make sure to add comma and specify stream equals true, otherwise this will not work. So stream equals true, press there enter, and then you can just type r.raw and you will see that basically it created the actual HTTP response object at this memory address. Now in order to actually read from that memory address, you need to type r.raw.read, and then you can specify in between the brackets how many actual bytes you want to read. Let's say we want to read 15 bytes. Press here enter, and for some reason we don't really get anything right here. Let's specify some lower amount. Maybe that is the problem. Let's say 10, for example. Yeah, it doesn't really want to work, but this is the way that you actually can do it. Now maybe for some reason it didn't perform the request correctly. That's why it won't actually print it out. But this is the actual process. So basically you perform the request. Afterwards you can actually just simply type r.raw.read. Yeah, I think I know why. It is not r. We actually need to use the result.raw.read, because the R is actual this request that we performed at the beginning, and there we didn't use stream equals true, therefore it doesn't really want to print it out. I just noticed that, so we need to type here result.raw.read, specify 10 bytes, and you can see right here it prints us the first 10 bytes. Now if you want to, you can simply just specify .raw.read and specify 20 bytes, and it will print out the next 20 bytes. Okay? Now the most important thing right here is to make sure that you add this stream equals true, otherwise this will not work. Okay, so now let us take a look at, before actually closing this video, at one more thing, and that is posting a multi-part encoded file. Now requests make it simple to upload a file. Basically all we need to do is specify the URL, and we can specify the file just like this. So let's say the URL will be equal to, for example, let's use the previous website from the previous tutorials, which is https, then column / http bin, then .org/post, because we're going to post the actual files. We're going to create a post request, and there we're going to go to the actual /post directory onto this website URL. Okay, right now all we need is an actual file, and the files, you can simply just type any file you like. Let me just go right here. Let's see where this is, and right here let us create a new file. Or let me just see right here. Yeah, it doesn't even matter. We're going to actually use this web browser open file from the previous video to actually try to upload it to this web server. Let me just see how it is called, web browser pen. Because we are in this directory in our idle right here, we're going to specify this file in order to upload it. Now, it doesn't have to be the file from this directory. You can simply just specify to try to upload a file from the desktop directory, but make sure that once you open that file, you specify the full path to that file, otherwise it will not be able to find it. And simply we can just, let me just close this, simply we can just make files uploadable just by putting them in something dictionary-like, such as, for example, adding the key of a file to be equal to the value of the file content right here. We know that we open a file with the open tag, and in between the brackets make sure that you specify the file name. In my case that is web browser pen.py, which is the name of the file. We need to know how we open it. We open it to read bytes. Now always make sure that you read bytes, because we're actually going to send the raw content to the actual page itself. Press here enter, and you can see everything is opened correctly. And right now all we need is to actually send this file, or files, doesn't even matter. I just defined one file right here. All we need to do is create an actual post request. So result will be equal to requests.post, and we are posting onto the URL, which is this URL right here, and we are posting files. So files equal files. This parameter files is something where you actually set the equal to be equal to the files that you defined. Now this part right here doesn't have to be called files, it's simply called files because we called it like that here. You can call it anything you want. Press here enter, and let's print r.text. Press here enter, squeeze text, not r.text, result.text. And you can see right here the actual arguments, data files, as we can see right here. Let me just find, where is it? Where did it store it? Yeah, it is on the post page. User agent Python requests, correct. Open, place, address. Yeah, here it is. Here is the actual contents of the file. As we can see right here, we imported a web browser. This is the actual contents of the file. And we know that by seeing the actual key, which is file that we specified right here, and the actual raw data of that file is the actual content of the file, which is this one right here. We know that because we actually coded this web browser open.py program in the previous video. Therefore, we know that we successfully uploaded this file to the page. Okay, so that will be basically about it for this tutorial. Hope you enjoyed it, and we're going to continue coding with some of the more advanced stuff in the request library in the next tutorial. Hope I see you there, and take care. Bye.